being here and listening to my talk, and thank you, Deborah, for this opportunity. So I want to start with a question. Have you ever eaten a meal and barely remembered what you ate? Yes? So when we don't register what we eat, our body doesn't register it either. What would be some of the reasons? Like you're putting your hand up and saying you didn't register what you eat. What would have happened for you to not register what you ate? Can you give me an example?
I was reading or watching something.
I wasn't present yet. I ate fast.
You ate fast. So we can be scrolling, or we can be rushing around, which is like breakfast. I hear many women who are grabbing a bit here, grabbing a bit there, rushing around, not finishing what they're eating in the car while you're driving somewhere. So we're not present at all. And when we're not present with the food can't nourish us. So my talk today is about mindful eating and help you understand what that is. Before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Jeyanthi, and I'm a nutritional therapist. I work with nutrition with women to help them feel fabulous in their body and get back to how they were, to feel like themselves again or feel even better than they did before. And I do this through lifestyle medicine, nutrition, and mindset work. So let's look at what mindful eating is. It's not about dieting. So I'm not going to tell you in this, you've got to eat more protein, less carbs. It's none of that stuff. It's not about the food that you eat. Even though that's helpful, but that's not what mindful eating is. It's not about restriction. So I'm not going to tell you eat smaller portions. It's nothing about that. It's actually how you eat your food, not even about how much you eat your food. So when we are rushing around, what happens is our sympathetic nervous system is activated. What that means is we are in fight or flight. So our bodies cannot digest that food. It doesn't know, should it send energy to digesting that food, or should it send energy to actually help you move? It gets confused. So then it ends up not actually digesting your food efficiently, you're not getting the nourishment from it, you're not going to absorb the food properly, and so then a whole host of things happen, which we'll go into in a second. What we need to be in is something called rest and digest, which is when your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. So that means sitting and eating, chewing. Anybody know, if you've ever done any of this lifestyle stuff before, how many times you should chew each meal? Anybody have a guess?
20 times. Yeah, it's 32.
It can range from about 24 to, I've heard Buddhist monks who chew 100 times. So that can seem like a lot. Even 24 can seem like a lot. But once you get into the habit, it gets easier. And you actually, when you're counting and being present, you'll find you do need to chew that many times. And if it's raw food, you actually need to chew even more because your body finds it difficult to digest that. So when we are in rest and digest, our body is calm, we are lowering our cortisol levels, we take a breath, and we are mindful with the food, we're present with the food, and as we're eating it, it helps it digest it very efficiently and beautifully without sending mixed messages to the brain about, we're on the go now, let's send some energy into the legs to get moving. So why is this important? Does our stomach have teeth? Can the stomach actually bite through the food? No, right? So what happens then? If we are literally, I know so many people who inhale their food, we're not chewing, we're just like, we're in a rush, right? We are so stressed in this day and age. We're always in a rush and we're not paying attention to the food that we eat at all. It's such a secondary thing. The next task, the next reel, the next whatever it is much more important. So we're not really giving the reverence that that food deserves. So we're in a rush. What happens is we're eating that food really quickly, we're not paying attention. So then what needs to do the work? If we're not doing the work in our mouth, our stomach needs to do the work, and it takes a lot of energy in order to break down the food because it doesn't have all the necessary enzymes. We're inhaling too fast, shoving it down too fast, and the enzymes aren't actually working properly for us. And then we could get things like diarrhea, constipation, our digestion isn't working properly. But did you know, what percentage do you think we can actually digest the food in our mouth? Has anybody thought of that before? Out of 100, what do you think? How much of that food gets digested in our mouth if we chew properly?
30, 80.
It's about 80 to 90%. We can digest that food in our, because certain enzymes are released, and if we are chewing properly, we should be able to bring down the food like liquid. Then imagine how much less work our digestive system actually has to do. So then where does that energy now go? It can go into working and moving and doing the things that we really want to do, having more clarity, having more focus. But if all that energy is going into digesting the food, we can feel sluggish after food. Lots of people do, right? Eat your food and then you feel tired and you need to sit and rest. But what if we could be alive and energetic after our food? That's what we want, because we want that fuel to work for us. It's not just eating for the sake of eating, but actually there's a purpose to the food. It's becoming part of us, it's becoming part of our flesh. So we need it to work for us. So if you chew correctly, mindfully, not scrolling, because when you scroll, you don't even know what you're eating, you don't know when you're full, you don't know how much you're eating, you probably eat much more than you need to eat. There was a study that was done where a group of people were given popcorn, large box of popcorn and a medium box of popcorn, and it was stale. It was actually 5 days old. But what they didn't even realise, they were given the popcorn before they went in to see the movie, and they didn't realise that they'd literally eaten 53% more of the popcorn than they would have if they'd been present. Because they're not present, they're just watching the movie, they don't know what they're eating the stale food, they don't even care that it's stale, the quality of the food doesn't even matter at that point. But if you're present, you wouldn't have even taken more than a couple of those popcorns. So mindful eating is really, really important. And chewing, and so that the idea is to chew so that it becomes liquid, you take it down as liquid, and then you open your mouth to take the next mouthful. Has anybody tried this? You have, some of you. So why does it matter? Why am I going on about mindful eating? One, it can, as we said, improve digestion. 2, can reduce bloating. 3, there's much more satisfaction with our food. And 4, it can improve hormonal balance, like lowering cortisol and improving insulin resistance and balancing our blood sugars much, much better. So there are 3 steps. 1 is to pause, so take a breath before you eat your meal. The next step is to slow down and eat it slowly. And the 3rd is to notice the taste, the texture, the flavours. So what I'd like you to do, ladies, is if you can pass around the grapes really quickly, because I probably only have 2 minutes now, and take a couple of grapes in your hand. Don't eat them yet. And then what we're going to do is just have take a little experiment and experience what mindful eating is about. Have any of you done this before? Yeah, you have.
It's always good to be reminded.
I know.
Always good to be
Even
reminded.
I realise with my clients, they still need to be reminded, even though it's one of the main things that we talk about at the beginning, they still need to be reminded. So I'll talk through what we're going to do as it's being passed around. We will take that grape in our hand, and we're going to, if you like to, close your eyes, take a deep breath, just hold that one grape that you're going to take. Take a couple of deep breaths, really cleansing, be present, be grounded, and feel that grape in your fingers first. And now I want you to take a bite. Don't do anything, just take a bite. Notice the texture of the grape, the bursting flavours on your tongue. I know it's difficult, but just notice. That's the first part. And once you've noticed, now you can start chewing. Very slowly. You can count, if you like, that actually helps. Grapes probably don't need as much chewing because they're already very soft, but it gives you an idea. What are you noticing?
The flavour.
Have you ever tasted
The sound.
Have you ever tasted grapes like this before?
Resistance of the skin.
Yeah, lovely. And then once it's liquid, you can take it down the throat. How does that feel? Very good.
Paradise on the dome.
It's almost like tasting that grape for the first time, because we wouldn't have noticed it in this way because we're shoveling so many different things into our mouth. So I'd like to close with, it's not about perfection, it's not about you have to do this every single meal and make it a perfect practice. It's about just one meal at a time, starting to do this, eating slowly, sitting down, not scrolling, not having the TV on, and really being mindful and present with your food can actually change the way your body responds to food and digests that food.